All right, Internet, we are back. And as you can see, or as you can't see, we have not got our camera situation worked out quite yet. But in replacement of the lack of video, instead, we will be using smooth radio DJ voices.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get this started. My name is Noah Martin.
And I am Christopher Carpenter.
And this is the Gamers Chat Room, hosted by none other than Game Train. And today we've got a rather interesting topic for you.
Nintendo has been facing some hardship as of late.
And it's not looking pretty. So we're going to go knee deep. Not waist deep, that would be too deep. But we're going to go knee deep into the issues surrounding Nintendo.
Number 1.
Nintendo cuts their sales projections. Now this is not a good sign for Nintendo. As we're seeing, they have, beginning of the fiscal year, they wanted to sell 9 million Wii U units. They have since dropped that number to about 2.5 million. Not looking pretty good.
No, that is a major decrease, about 69%.
It's very concerning to see Nintendo having to drop their sales like that. It really shows that they're not doing enough for the Wii U, and it's a little concerning for me.
Media sites like N4G and many others have really used this opportunity to release a series of articles denouncing Nintendo over this issue. But Nintendo being Nintendo might have some plans to back up this.
However, I will have to cut in here and say I'm not so sure about this. We've been hearing since the beginning that the Wii U won't be as successful, and I hate to agree, but we're seeing with the numbers right now that they're not nearly as successful as Nintendo aimed it to be.
Though they do still have more units sold than the PS4 and Xbox One.
But they had an extra year, keep that in mind.
I was about to say that.
All right, well, given that extra year, in the last 6 months, they've only sold, what was that number? 0.4 million?
Well, that was through the beginning of the last fiscal year,
that's not including holidays.
Not including holidays.
However, keep in mind, that number is still significantly low, considering the 9 million mark they had.
They did have a rather good jump in Japan during the holiday season, selling more than all the other consoles.
Well, it's Japan and Nintendo owns that market, so I'm not too impressed there. However, I would like to suggest an observation. If Nintendo wanted to sell 9 million Wii U's, why didn't they put more effort into it?
True, they had very little advertisement where they had advertisement, but they
didn't have enough games either.
Yes.
I mean, they were releasing first-party games, but they just weren't catching the attention of enough gamers.
The games that Nintendo do release only interest a certain market based off of nostalgia and age. So, the group that they have now, the market that Nintendo owns right now, is very minuscule. It only really appeals to the younger age and nostalgia, due to the rather different style that the third parties and other console manufacturers are going. This puts Nintendo in quite a bind.
They're not really appealing to the masses of the video game players. They're appealing to a niche that, even saying that, they're not successfully able to control that niche. Let's move over to another topic.
Number 2.
Number 2. Oh yeah. Nintendo apologizes to its investors.
Anyone in business knows that this is a very big no-no.
Well, investors were doubting Nintendo from basically the start of the Wii U.
Though they did always have the highest stocks compared to the other manufacturers, they have made some questionable moves as of late.
Well, all we know right now is Nintendo openly apologized to their investors. And that suggests failure.
And investors do not like that.
And as a Nintendo fan, stepping away from the investors, as a Nintendo fan, and you as well, I'm concerned. Because I see that they think they're failing. They think they're failing not only themselves, but they're failing their investors. And that's not a good sign. It makes me concerned.
It would only help to decrease the sale of Wii U consoles, and it would put those who already own them in a tight bind on if they should sell their consoles or if they should just hold on and hope for the better later on.
The biggest thing for me is, for me it feels like they don't know how to run their business. They don't know how to run a successful company. And that's the biggest thing for me.
They have had some very good history, bringing back the entire gaming in the 80s,
But that doesn't matter now.
Things have just been going downhill. And this may be on account of another thing that has been wanting lately, which is many consumers wanting Iwata being fired. This may probably never happen. Iwata has been very, very profitable to Nintendo. Up until the Wii U, he has brought nothing but a good amount of money to the company. He allowed the GameCube to bring money, allowed the GameCube to earn a profit, though it had poor sales next to the PS2. The Wii absolutely dominated the last gen, and unlike the other two consoles, which sold at loss, the Wii earned during every unit, and thus they were basically the only manufacturer that actually made a profit last gen.
Iwata definitely is a large benefit to Nintendo, but seeing that fans are calling for his head, it's not pretty.
I think the main reason for this is due to the fans' desire for a focus on power, like the old days with the NES, SNES, and N64.
Well, that's what they're seeing from the other companies, and that's what they're asking of for Nintendo. But I think that a lot of these fans need to realize that Nintendo's not Microsoft, Nintendo's not Sony. Nintendo's always done their own thing, and they either need to embrace it or get out and not sit in this middle ground of, oh, I like you, Nintendo, but Iwata's got to go, but this has to change. And this has brought up our third concerning reason.
Number 3.
Rumors of a new console. Now this, again, as a Nintendo fan, not only as a Nintendo fan, but as a Wii U owner, I am concerned when I hear whispers of a new console in development.
But like the likelihood, though, is that this new console, if the rumors are true, will come much further down the line. The console manufacturers always start up on a new product shortly after releasing a new one.
And I believe after looking at the suggested specs, and keep in mind, we don't know the source of this information, so this could be complete garbage or this could be completely legitimate. We just don't know at this point. But I believe you gave me a number earlier. You said that the suggested the price of the specs that they would use on this console would cost roughly $2,000.
The specs are very expensive, though $2,000 was me just speaking mainly in the moment. It is significantly more expensive than what the other consoles currently have.
So it would make sense that them expecting these parts to be cheaper in the future, that this is indeed a next gen console.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of share that same thought, because if Nintendo had the audacity to stop in the middle of a console that they've promoted, then we would have seen that with the GameCube, and we did not see that with the GameCube.
Though what we did see this happen with was the Sega Saturn, and that, as a prime example to what would happen if Nintendo went through with such a thing, drove Sega out of the console market. The Dreamcast had very little support, being the only other console other than the Wii U that lost its EA support, which is another concerning thing, the loss of EA support.
EA has been cut out of the Wii U since its beginning, so I'm not too concerned about that.
And many gamers don't really care for EA mainly nowadays.
Well, EA is definitely has a bad rap out right now, but I think that EA could help the Wii U if they tried, but there's no relation there anymore. I think we should move on to the next thing that Iwata, who we talked about earlier, was talking about with some of the investors as well as publicly, the plans of change in Nintendo.
Iwata said that they need to change their business model. They plan on turning things around, and hopefully they will be able to go through with this. We don't know anything on this topic,
We do know briefly, however, he did explain the possibility of going into an Android or smartphone market.
A possibility, but I don't see that very much as helping them.
Oh, absolutely not, because a lot of their games really wouldn't be applicable to that market. Maybe some of the retro ones, like some of the old ones.
Market is very polarized from the rest of the gaming, so I don't know how much full-fledged games like this could do.
Well, they couldn't. They would have to resort to short games that would grab your attention for short periods of time.
Yes.
They couldn't make big projects like Nintendo loves to do. One thing they said, this was a quote from Iwata, he said, they need to start winning now. They also said that earlier, listening to some of the press conferences from Iwata, he was talking about how Nintendo can't be a company if they're not winning. So that just shows that right now they're not winning. So they have to make large changes if they want to propel themselves into this winning state that they're looking for.
Luckily, they appear to actually be acknowledging it now. As before, when questioned with this, they would use the excuse that would just speak of how their games are fun and how they are doing these great things, but they never actually brought to the actual answer.
If anything good comes from this, it's that they do acknowledge that there's an issue. They acknowledge that something is broken, that they need to fix it. So if anything good comes from that, and I think just to sum it all up, to sum all of what we set up, it's just that Nintendo fans are worried. I am both a 3DS and Wii U owner, and seeing a lot of these and researching them, I'm a little concerned for the future of Nintendo. Not only just for the amount of money I put into these consoles and even the possibility of new consoles coming out soon, and which would make me feel kind of ripped off, but the possibility that Nintendo would be completely shut down if they cannot keep themselves afloat.
And that is a horribly terrifying thought. But maybe Nintendo can turn this around. We simply need more time to know.
All we know right now is that there are some legit problems there that need to get fixed, and there's been some concerning events. But I think all we can do right now is sit tight and see what happens.
I'm Christopher Carpenter.
And I'm Noah Martin.
And we hope you have a good night.
Oh, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed our 4th episode of Gaming. I don't even know the name of our show anymore. Of
The Gamers Chat Room.
The Gamers Chat. That's right. The Gamers Chat Room. Thanks for listening in. If those DJ voices made it hard to listen,
we would never do them again.
We won't do them again because my voice kind of hurts now too. But thanks for holding on to that. Hope you guys have a great night. Also, are you concerned with Nintendo? Should we be more concerned with Nintendo? Leave a comment, talk to us, let us know, and we will see you guys next week.